Welcome to Fred Chando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you for the support that you've given this channel. If you are watching this channel for the first time, allow me with profound humility to request you to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that when we release a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Kindly give more likes to our videos so that YouTube will rate them high and recommend them to other viewers. Is someone setting the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja against the very people who elected him? Or is he making unilateral decisions that do not augur well with the Nairobians? When Johnson Sakaja campaigned, he coiled his campaigns around a youthful leader, one who understood the predicaments of Nairobians. He talked about, among other things, creation of jobs for Nairobians. He talked about cleaning the capital city. But barely a few days or months after he took oath of office, things have taken a turn for the worst, if I must say so. One, if you look at Nairobi, it is dirty. It's worse than how it was before he took over power. And I know this is a short time that we cannot start judging Johnson Sakaja. But the signs and symptoms will make us judge him. Because we know the shortest period that he's been in office will indicate to us the direction he's taking. Over the past few weeks, he has grabbed headlines. First, he started by saying that he was evacuating the buses and vehicles that are taking people to Western Kenya from the CBD. And I thought this is not a bad idea, but the timing is poor. We are in a festive season. Children, pupils and students have just closed schools. And some of them are rushing back to the rural suburbs. And some of them who are learning in the rural suburbs are coming to the city. And so for Sakaja to decide that he wants the transport system to be removed from the CBD at this hour, I thought it was wrong. Even if it was a good move, as I thought it was, he should have waited for the festivities, for the festive season. He should have waited for the completion of the festive season. December is always a very busy and a peak hour for travelers. It's a peak season. And so Sakaja should have waited for the December and January to implement his decision. Because after the December, the whole season, then in January, we will have people who will be traveling back, rushing back to Nairobi, some of them coming back to work. Because most of the employees in Nairobi will be given leave from 20th and for the Christmas season and the New Year. So after 2nd and 3rd, it will be another rush hour and a peak season for them. If I was Sakaja and I was advising Sakaja, I would have told him, wait a minute for the off-peak, for the peak season to get over. Then during the off-peak, then you can now try implementing your decision. I think later someone advised him, and I think that decision has been reversed. But it indicates how rushing he is with the decision that can result into negative impact rather than being helpful. Then came the decision to close all the clubs around our schools. One, a very bright idea, but the timing to me was just wrong. Let me tell you why. I am a parent and I would not advise any noise from a club near a school where my child is learning. But I will, if I were Johnson Sakaja, I would be looking at the other side of the coin. There are people who are employed in the hotel industry. There are people, the bouncers, the attendants who are working in those clubs, who are earning a living to take their children to those schools that we are closing clubs as a result on their behalf. And they should have waited, because one, schools have closed. And the clubs, even though there will be noise coming from the clubs, there are no students now. They have closed schools. And so I think SAKAJA should have given them some notice to prepare them. Because there are people who are just going to lose their jobs abruptly, yet the impact has been reduced because children and students are not going to school. And there is a catch that there are very many people are reading mischief in SAKAJA'S decision. One, there has been a general feeling that people do not go to clubs in the CBD. I don't go to clubs at night. These youths call it raving. They say tunaenda kurave. I don't do that. But there's a general feeling that there are clubs that have been developed in the estates that meet the stature of the clubs that are in the CBD. So people feel that instead of going to town, they should club around. And this has resulted into what people say a cartel. And I don't know how true this is. People say there is a cartel that have gone around and are now using SAKAJA to close the clubs in the estates or around the estate so that people can go back to the clubs in town, because the owners of the clubs in town are losing revenue. So while trying to close the clubs in the estates, they will be losing revenue because there are people who are employed there. Some of them are paying rent. Those who are in town will start collecting more revenue. But I thought SAKAJA should look for a way in which both the parties will benefit. Like I said, it is really very important that we looked at the deeper impact. Our city needs a lot of reprogramming, because if you look at how the houses are being built haphazardly, some houses and buildings are structured on sewer lines, on riparian lands. The Nairobi city planning needs to be relooked at so that we decide, because if you look at the way some cities are built, cities in China, the Beijing or Washington DC, or because those cities are planned in such a way that if we want clubs, we will direct them to be in certain part. Commercial buildings in certain parts. There will be specific buildings for specific businesses for ease of reach, so that when you go to this side, you know, I need clothes and shoes and attire. And if I go on this side, I will, if I'm interested in going to clubs and buying maybe soft drinks or hard drinks, this is where I will find them. But our cities, not only Nairobi, if you look at all other Kenyan cities, they were built in such a way that there is no planning at all. And so just going after the clubs that are around the estate is a good thing, but it is a temporary solution. We need a permanent solution where people sit down. There should be, I don't want to call a commission because commission will be paid huge money, taxpayers' money for nothing. We need technocrats who will sit down and look at the entire cities in Kenya and how we should plan our cities. Because I have seen it as a good thing, and I want to appreciate SAKAJA and the president for coming up with some committee who will start cleaning the Nairobi River. But this is not the first time Nairobi River is being cleaned. Michuki tried it. The late lawyer, the late Senator Mutula Kilonzo Sr. tried it. And so I just want to urge Mr. Sakaja to ensure that he embarks on tangible programs that will help Nairobians, not things that will be seen as PR. Many times when a leader realizes that he cannot confront real issues that are affecting people, they go for smaller issues, things that will make them grab headlines. And this is the reason that I feel either someone is using Sakaja to pit him against the people who elected him, or he's making unilateral decisions that will backfire. Because I have seen some tweets and communication from Sakaja where he says that he started by negotiating with the clubs before he closed them. And so he was urging the church to prepare, that he is, because it was a lot of, it elicited criticism that he's giving the churches some leeway for negotiations, and some people are telling them, we have churches which are making noise in the estates. And it was a divided conversation because many people don't like talking about God, and it creates fear. Instead of confronting issues, even if it is around our churches, grabbing land and making noise, people fear that they will feel the wrath of God. They will face the wrath of God if they talk about churches. While the truth is there are churches that are making noise, and I don't want to go to that direction. But very soon he will go. Pressure will be mounted and he will start going for the churches. And you know, the Ruto administration campaigned around the church, and even today you see them when they want to attack Raila Amolo Odinga, they go to churches, and that's where our deputy will get a chance and a platform to attack our churches. They have coiled their governance around the church. And if Sakaja will go to the church, then that will be the beginning of his separation from real power. And I can assure you that William Ruto cannot support any idea around going to the churches to close them because they are making noise. And if Sakaja decides to go alone and make these decisions to go for the church, he will not get the support of William Ruto. I remember William Ruto supported him to close all the clubs around the schools, but on the church it will not succeed. And if William Ruto sets him to go for the church, then I can assure you that will be the beginning of his predicament, because the church controls masses and they can whip emotions. Whenever people go for worships on Saturdays and Sundays, they will use that occasion to whip emotions, and Sakaja will suffer backlash. He might just be thrown away like Sonko. Sakaja should sit down, ladies and gentlemen, and look at all the predicaments ailing Nairobians. And one of them is city planning. Sit down with the city planning department and look for a permanent solution. And the government should roll out this program to all other cities and the centers that are coming up, so that we can have a proper planning and redirect all our clubs. Tell them this is where we want all the clubs to be, because a club owner is an investor, he is an employer, there are people who are working under him. You don't just wake up and close it. And during this season when schools have closed, Sakaja can give them some leeway. There are people who are employed there, so that by the time we have a 2-month period where they can plan, they can be given this notice so that they plan. Even where you stay in your residential home in Nairobi, a landlord just doesn't come one day and tell you vacate. They must give you some time to plan and arrange yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but I think proper planning in every department needs to be done.